business was I grew up in Los Angeles, and I was studying business in college and never done a school play or anything.
Tom Selleck has been one of Hollywood's most recognizable faces. The man with the signature mustache, the deep voice, and the quiet confidence that made him a symbol of strength and charm. From Magnum, P.I. to Blue Bloods, Selleck carved out a career that blended toughness with warmth, always playing characters who stood for justice, loyalty, and integrity. Fans have admired not just his talent, but also the grace with which he's aged, seemingly unbothered by the chaos of Hollywood. But lately, there's been growing concern about what's really going on with the 79-year-old star. In recent months, whispers have spread about Tom Selleck's health, his future on Blue Bloods, and his decision to step away from the spotlight. Once known for his boundless energy and rugged good looks, those close to him have noticed a change, a quieter presence, fewer public appearances, and subtle signs of slowing down. His fans, who have followed him for decades, are worried. What's really happening behind the scenes? As it turns out, Tom Selleck has been facing challenges that go far beyond the cameras. Personal battles that few knew about until recently. And now, with new reports surfacing, the truth about his life today is finally becoming clear. In this video, we'll uncover what really happened to Tom Selleck, the triumphs, the struggles, and the emotional truth behind the man who became an American legend. Because the story of Tom Selleck isn't just about fame. It's about endurance, sacrifice, and the reality of a life lived in the public eye. Before he became one of television's most beloved stars, Tom Selleck was just a determined young man trying to find his place in the world. Born on January 29, 1945, in Detroit, Michigan, and raised in California, Selleck's path to fame was anything but straightforward. He grew up in a working-class family that valued discipline, faith, and perseverance, traits that would later define both his career and his off-screen life. Tom initially pursued business at the University of Southern California, where he also played basketball. But fate intervened when a drama coach encouraged him to try acting. What began as a simple curiosity quickly became a calling. After graduating, Selleck began appearing in commercials, including a famous Pepsi ad that caught the attention of casting directors. Yet despite his good looks and charisma, his early years in Hollywood were marked by rejection and struggle. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, Selleck took on small TV parts, working tirelessly to prove himself. He appeared in shows like The Rockford Files and Marcus Welby, M.D., often in guest roles that barely hinted at the star power he would one day command. Still, he persisted, waiting for the right opportunity. That moment arrived in 1980 when he was cast as Thomas Magnum in Magnum, P.I. The show became an instant hit, catapulting Selleck to superstardom and making him a global icon. As Magnum, he embodied the perfect blend of charm, masculinity, and moral integrity, a Hawaiian shirt-wearing detective with a code of honor and a touch of vulnerability. The role earned him both critical acclaim and a dedicated fan base. But what made Selleck truly unique was his refusal to let fame change who he was. While many stars chased the spotlight, Tom remained grounded, preferring privacy and simplicity over Hollywood's fast pace. Behind the scenes, however, Selleck was already beginning to feel the pressures of fame. The endless shooting schedules, interviews, and public attention left little time for a personal life. He longed for peace, something that would soon lead him to make a life-altering decision. By the time Magnum, P.I. ended in 1988, Tom Selleck had become a symbol of integrity and strength, but also a man searching for balance. He chose to step away from the Hollywood grind, moving with his wife Jillie Mack to a ranch in Ventura County, California. There he found solace in hard work, family, and the quiet rhythm of nature, a stark contrast to the glamour of Los Angeles. It was a decision that surprised fans but defined the next chapter of his life. As the years passed, Selleck became more selective about his roles, focusing only on projects that truly resonated with him. He appeared in films like 3 Men and a Baby and eventually returned to television with Blue Bloods, once again proving his timeless appeal. But now, decades later, as he nears 80, The man who once seemed unshakable is facing new challenges, ones that remind fans that even legends are human. When Magnum PI hit television screens in 1980, Tom Selleck became an instant household name. With his effortless charm, trademark mustache, and undeniable charisma, Selleck embodied everything the audience wanted in a leading man. His portrayal of Thomas Magnum, a private investigator with a sense of humor and a moral compass, wasn't just a performance. It was a cultural phenomenon. The show ran for 8 successful seasons, earning Selleck an Emmy and a Golden Globe, solidifying him as one of television's biggest stars. But as fame often does, it came with a price. Selleck was suddenly everywhere: magazine covers, interviews, talk shows, and commercials. Hollywood saw him as the next big movie star, and the pressure to live up to that image was immense. Offers poured in, from romantic comedies to action blockbusters. Yet behind his easygoing smile, Tom felt increasingly disillusioned with the industry's relentless pace. He loved acting, but he hated the lack of privacy and the feeling of being on display at all times. One of his biggest career crossroads came when he was offered the role of Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that could have changed his entire career trajectory. However, due to his contractual commitment to Magnum PI, Selleck had to turn it down. Harrison Ford would take the role and become a global icon, while Selleck watched from the sidelines. Though he handled it with grace, insiders say the decision haunted him for years. It wasn't about jealousy, it was about what might have been. Despite that setback, Selleck's commitment to his craft never wavered. He took roles that challenged him, including in films like 3 Men and a Baby, which became one of the highest-grossing movies of the 1980s. But fame didn't sit comfortably with him. He longed for something quieter, something real. "I had to find balance," he once said. "Hollywood can make you forget who you are if you let it." In the late 80s, at the peak of his success, Selleck made a surprising decision. He walked away. He moved to a 65-acre ranch in Ventura County, California, with his wife, Jillie Mack, whom he had quietly married in 1987. Together, they built a life far from the red carpets and flashing cameras. For Selleck, this was more than just an escape. It was a way to reclaim his identity. He found joy in the simplicity of ranch life, riding horses, growing avocados, and spending time with his family. "The ranch keeps me sane," he once said in an interview. "It's where I can be myself." Yet Hollywood wasn't quite ready to let him go. In 2010, Selleck returned to television in Blue Bloods, playing NYPD Commissioner Frank Reagan. The role was tailor-made for him, a man of integrity, leadership, and quiet strength. The show became an unexpected hit, attracting both old fans who grew up watching Magnum, PI, and new viewers who admired his gravitas. Even after more than a decade, Selleck's performance remains the emotional anchor of the series. But as the years went on, fans began to notice that something wasn't quite right. Tom seemed slower, more fragile. His once effortless stride was replaced with a cautious gait. Rumors began swirling that his health was declining. While Selleck has remained private about his medical condition, sources close to him have hinted at chronic pain and arthritis caused by years of physical work, both on set and on his ranch. He has admitted to struggling with mobility at times, but insists that he's not ready to retire. "I love what I do," he said, "but I'm not chasing fame anymore. I'm just grateful for what I have." Tom Selleck's story isn't one of tragedy, it's one of choice. He chose family over fame, peace over chaos, and authenticity over image. In an industry that often consumes its own stars, Selleck found a way to stay grounded. But what's happening behind the scenes now at his ranch, and the quiet truth about his health, has left fans worried that we might not see much more of him on screen after decades under the blinding lights of Hollywood. Tom Selleck's transition to ranch life seemed like a peaceful retreat. But behind that calm exterior, the actor was facing a different kind of challenge, one that had nothing to do with fame or fortune. His 65-acre ranch in Ventura County became both a sanctuary and a silent battleground. The physically demanding life of maintaining horses, tending to avocado trees, and managing the land began taking a toll on his body. The man once known for his strength and vitality started struggling with persistent pain, stiffness, and fatigue. For a long time, Selleck brushed it off. He was raised with an old-school work ethic, a belief that you just get on with it. But the pain only grew worse. On set, colleagues noticed him limping between takes. During interviews, his voice carried a tinge of exhaustion. Yet, true to his private nature, Tom rarely discussed his health. "I've never been one to complain," he said once. "I just keep doing my job." The truth is, his job wasn't easy. Playing Frank Reagan on Blue Bloods required long hours and emotionally intense scenes. Even in his 70s, Selleck insisted on doing much of his own work, often pushing through discomfort to deliver the same commanding presence fans loved. Those who worked closely with him said that his professionalism never faltered. He would arrive early, stay late, and treat everyone, from co-stars to crew, with respect. But when the cameras stopped rolling, he often retreated quietly, conserving his strength for the next day. Adding to the pressure were persistent rumors about his retirement. Every few months, tabloids would speculate that Selleck was too ill to continue or ready to walk away from Blue Bloods. But the actor consistently dismissed the chatter. In his own words, "I still have stories to tell, and I'll keep going as long as I can do the work justice." Fans admired that dedication, though they couldn't help but notice how much older and frailer he seemed in recent appearances. Away from the set, Selleck's life revolved around family and solitude. His wife, Jilly Mack, became his greatest support, managing the ranch and shielding him from the media frenzy that never fully died down. Their relationship, which has lasted over 3 decades, is a Hollywood rarity, rooted in trust, simplicity, and love. Together they raised their daughter, Hannah, who followed her father's passion for horses and became a professional equestrian. Still, even in this seemingly idyllic life, Tom faced emotional struggles. Friends have revealed that the isolation he once craved occasionally turned into loneliness. "He's a private man, but sometimes that privacy comes at a cost," one insider shared. He misses the camaraderie of the old days, but he doesn't miss the chaos of Hollywood. In recent years, Selleck's health challenges have reportedly deepened. The long days of filming, combined with years of physical wear, began catching up to him. While he has not publicly confirmed any diagnosis, sources close to him have hinted at chronic back and hip problems. On screen, fans have noticed subtle differences: the slower movements, the careful posture, and moments where he appears to grimace between scenes. Yet despite it all, Tom continues to radiate the same dignity and quiet strength that defined his career. His fellow cast members often describe him as the heart of Blue Bloods. He checks in on younger actors, offers advice, and leads by example. Even when he's in pain, he never lets it overshadow his work. "Tom sets the tone," said Donnie Wahlberg, his co-star. "He's a true professional, steady, humble, and kind." Behind the ranch gates, life remains simple. Selleck still tends to his avocado farm, spends time with his dogs, and enjoys long evenings on the porch with Jilly. But those close to him say he's slowing down more these days, choosing peace over pace, reflection over routine. For fans who grew up watching him, it's bittersweet to see the once vigorous icon grappling with time. Yet Tom Selleck's story has always been about grace, both in life and in aging. He's not defined by the roles he played or the awards he won, but by the way he's lived, with humility, discipline, and heart. Still, whispers from those close to the actor suggest that something more serious may be happening behind closed doors, something he's chosen to keep from the public eye. As Tom Selleck approaches his 80s, there's a sense of quiet reflection surrounding him. A man who has seen both the glory and the cost of a life spent in the public eye. While the rumors about his health continue to circulate, what's undeniable is that Selleck has reached a point of deep introspection. He's not just thinking about his next project or the next episode of Blue Bloods. He's thinking about legacy, family, and what he'll leave behind when the cameras finally stop rolling. For fans, the thought of Blue Bloods without Tom Selleck feels unimaginable. For more than a decade, his portrayal of Police Commissioner Frank Reagan has anchored the series, giving it heart, gravitas, and a moral compass. Yet behind the scenes, even Selleck knows that time waits for no one. In interviews, he's hinted that the day will come when he'll have to step away. "You have to listen to life," he once said. "Sometimes it tells you when it's time to slow down." Those words, simple yet heavy, suggest that he's been preparing himself and his fans for a graceful goodbye. Friends close to him say that he's already been spending more time at home than in front of the camera. He's found comfort in the rhythm of ranch life, watching the seasons change, tending to his land, and finding joy in the simplest things: a walk with Jilly, the sound of horses in the morning, the smell of rain over his fields. For someone who spent decades under constant scrutiny, this slower pace has brought him peace. "I don't need much," he once said. "Just space, family, and the freedom to be myself." But as serene as his life may seem, those who know Selleck best admit that his health remains a concern. While he continues to keep details private, insiders have shared that the physical strain of his work and years of doing his own stunts have left him with chronic pain that worsens each year. Some speculate that it's this struggle that's quietly pushing him toward retirement. Yet, even in pain, Selleck remains stoic, never wanting sympathy or attention, only respect for the work he's done. In Hollywood, where fame fades fast, Tom Selleck's staying power is extraordinary. He never needed scandals, headlines, or controversy to remain relevant. Instead, he built a career rooted in authenticity. He's one of the few stars of his generation who managed to stay grounded. No rehab scandals, no broken marriages, no desperate comeback tours. Just steady, honest work and a strong sense of self. That quiet integrity is what made him a legend. His castmates on Blue Bloods have often spoken about how much he means to them, not just as a co-star, but as a mentor. "Tom doesn't preach," one said. "He leads by example. He's old school in the best way possible." Even now, when he walks onto set, the room seems to pause. There's a reverence, a sense that they're witnessing the last great gentleman of classic television. But for Selleck, fame was never the goal. He said more than once that his proudest accomplishment isn't his Hollywood success, but the life he built away from it. He values his privacy, his faith, and the love of his family far more than any award. "At the end of the day," he once reflected, "you want to be remembered for the person you were, not the parts you played." As fans look back on his remarkable career, from the sun-soaked charm of Magnum, PI to the moral wisdom of Blue Bloods, Tom Selleck stands as a symbol of grace, endurance, and quiet strength. He's faced the passage of time with humility, embracing every wrinkle, every ache, every moment as part of a life fully lived. And though he may not say it outright, there's a feeling that he's preparing for his final bow, a silent goodbye wrapped in gratitude. Not the kind announced with headlines or press tours, but the kind that comes from a man who has already said everything he needed to say, both on screen and off. Whatever happens next, one thing is certain: Tom Selleck's legacy will endure, not just in Hollywood history, but in the hearts of those who grew up watching him embody what it truly means to be a hero. In the end, Tom Selleck's story isn't about the fame he earned, but the peace he found after it. At 79, he stands as one of the last of Hollywood's true gentlemen, an actor who built his success on quiet confidence and timeless integrity rather than flash or controversy. His name evokes a sense of nostalgia, a reminder of a time when television heroes represented more than just entertainment. They stood for values, but as the years pass, fans can't help but feel a tinge of sadness. Each new appearance brings with it questions. How much longer can he keep going? How much pain is he hiding behind that familiar smile? Yet, in classic Selleck fashion, he remains unshaken. He rarely complains, never seeks sympathy, and continues to show gratitude for the life he's built. "I've been blessed beyond measure," he once said. "I've lived a full life, done work I'm proud of, and loved deeply. That's more than I ever hoped for." Those who've worked alongside him often say that Tom's strength lies not just in his resilience, but in his humility. He treats every crew member with respect, values every fan's admiration, and never forgets where he came from. Even now, as he spends more time at home, tending to his ranch and enjoying quiet evenings with Jilly, he carries that same calm presence that once captivated millions. behind the scenes. However, close friends acknowledge that his health struggles have slowed him down. The once energetic actor now spends more time resting, reflecting, and cherishing each day as a gift. But if you ask him, he wouldn't call it slowing down. He'd call it living right. To Tom, this phase of life isn't an ending. It's a reward for years of hard work and sacrifice. And perhaps that's what makes Tom Selleck's journey so moving. He never chased Hollywood glory. It came to him because of who he was. He never needed to reinvent himself or chase the next big thing. Instead, he stayed true to his principles, to his faith, and to the people who mattered most. Today, as fans continue to ask, what happened to Tom Selleck? The answer is simple. Life happened. A life of purpose, dignity, and quiet grace. He may no longer dominate the screen as he once did, but his legacy shines brighter than ever, a testament to a man who lived not just as a star, but as a symbol of character, class, and heart. Because when the story of Hollywood's golden era is told, Tom Selleck's name won't fade. It will stand tall, just like the man himself.